Imagine George Washington was never born. No commander riding into camp in 1775. No steady hand holding a half-built army together. No single figure that every colony could trust. Here's the uncomfortable truth. America might still break away from Britain, but the odds shift fast. Without Washington, the revolution is far more likely to fracture from the inside, or to win, and then fall into crisis before the country even learns how to breathe. Rewind to 1775. The colonies are angry, armed, and brave, but they are not a nation. There's no shared budget, no shared discipline, and no guarantee that one colony will sacrifice for another. Every place has a different breaking point. Who sends troops? Who pays? Who keeps going when winter hits and the food runs out? The moment the Continental Army forms, the real fight isn't only against Britain, it's against collapse. Without a widely trusted commander, the army can splinter into regional teams with regional loyalties. And once that happens, united becomes a slogan, not a strategy. As the war drags on, the same brutal reality hits every army. Supplies run low, pay falls behind, desertions rise, morale collapses. And then the question that kills revolutions starts spreading. Is this actually going to work? If Washington doesn't exist, who says keep going when everyone else thinks it's over? Because revolutions don't always die because the enemy wins. They die because the inside breaks. One region says, this is too expensive. Another says, this is taking too long. Another says, let's protect our own home first. And unity turns into paperwork. Washington's superpower wasn't a perfect plan. It was endurance, keeping the army and the cause alive for one more day when the system was close to snapping. Now jump to the most dangerous moment, after victory. History is full of revolutions that win and then lose themselves. The force that fought the old empire decides it should rule the new one. I saved it, so I run it. Washington's rare move was the opposite. He gave up power. He took off the uniform and went home. That single act teaches the newborn country something huge. This is a republic. No throne, no ownership. Even a hero with an army doesn't get to sit on top of the nation. So ask yourself, without Washington, does the revolution end by removing a king and accidentally creating a new one? Maybe not a literal king, but the risk of a strongman rises. Politics hardens. Rivalries sharpen. Power starts coming from force instead of ballots. Then comes the next problem, governing. After independence, the center is weak. The states pull in different directions, money is a mess, and trust is thin. In that environment, what builds a country is rules. Who decides what, where power lives, and how to stay one nation instead of a temporary alliance. Washington's role wasn't writing every line. It was legitimacy. He made people believe the new system wasn't a personal power grab. It was how the country survived. Without him, the transition gets uglier. More states resist. The center stays weaker. And when the center is weak, every future crisis pulls the country apart faster. Here's the clean summary. A Washington-less America could probably still be born, but it would mature later, wobble harder, and carry a much higher risk of early division. Unity would feel thinner. Federal authority would take longer to stabilize. And the question, who owns this country, could turn into a dangerous fight much earlier. So no, removing Washington doesn't erase America, but it changes America's personality. More regional, more fragile, more tense. And in a young nation, that difference can decide everything. There's another ripple people overlook, diplomacy. Foreign courts watch the revolution like a gamble. A shaky, quarreling rebel army looks like a bad investment. A stubborn army that keeps showing up looks like a future government. Washington didn't just fight battles, he kept the cause looking real long enough for the world to take it seriously. And after the Constitution, the first presidency mattered because there was no instruction manual. Every choice set a precedent. Washington treated the office like a job, not a crown. He listened, he delegated, he took criticism, and then, most importantly, he left. By stepping away, he proved that power could be handed off without violence. Without that early example, the new presidency could swing to two extremes: so weak that nobody respects it, or so strong that people fear it. In the Washingtonless timeline, the United States can still exist, but it's more likely to spend its first years in arguments over authority. Does the national government have teeth, or are the states basically separate countries? Do laws apply everywhere, or only where they're popular? If those questions linger too long, the country doesn't feel like one place. It feels like a temporary deal that can be canceled the moment things get hard.